Hi, this is Joe again with another video. Instead of saying review, it's a video because this is a regular straight video without any reviews of movies, TV shows, whatever. This is actually my preview video, my annual preview video for the 2017 baseball season, which thankfully the preseason is now finally pretty much at its end. Thank God. And we got through all that stupid BS with the World Baseball Classic. Unfortunately, Tim Israel didn't win, which is a shame. But the Team USA finally won, which is a miracle in itself. But for this video, I'm going to be discussing previewing the 2017 season. And I hope I do a decent job for it. Well, of course, this is a very unusual baseball season because for the first time in about 108 years, the Chicago Chumps finally won the World Series. Finally, not only got to the World Series, but finally won one, which is a disgrace to anybody who is a baseball fan. Because this team did not deserve to be in the World Series because of what they did to Steve Bartman, what that city has done to Steve Bartman, right? And they still treat him like crap, so make him to be a laughing stock to this day. 14 years later now, since that infamous incident in the 2003 playoffs. Well, the team still treats him like crap, even invited him to the stupid victory parade, and he declined. Of course he's going to decline him because of the fact that, hey, he's going to be lynched. They're going to lynch him there. That's why he was afraid of. These drunks, they're not even World Cup fans, they're drunks. Most of the time go to color games want to lynch this guy. And like I mentioned in my other video with the 2016 top stories of 2016, that whole city should publicly apologize to Steve Bartman for what they did. Until they do so, knowing that all the drunks who threatened to kill him, he literally was getting death threats. So until when that happens, I'm not going to recognize it. I do not recognize this championship, the so-called championship the Cubs won, because the Cubs did not win. The Cleveland Indians lost it. Because don't forget, the Cubs had a 5-0 lead in Game 7 of the World Series, and they blew it to Cleveland. And if it wasn't, and the Cubs were going to lose that game in the World Series, if there wasn't for the half-hour, 45-minute rain delay that they had, and they had a meeting and they rallied around this team, the team meeting, and they ended up inspired to win. I mean, that game was not fixed. I mean, that game was fixed to the tilt. That game was as phony as the 1919 World Series was. Okay, so for the stupid Cubs to even win, it's an insult to anybody who's a baseball fan. At least I am. They said, "Oh, how can you say with the Red Sox won in 2004?" Well, at least when the Red Sox won, at least they won on the field and they deserved to win, and they came back in that series against the Yankees, and then of course won 4 straight in the World Series without any fluke plays, without any controversial moments. Where you had controversial moment in Game 7 where they had the rain delay. So that's what won the World Series for the Cubs. And like I said earlier, if they don't publicly apologize to Steve Ballmer instead of inviting him to when they raise the pennant, or when they for the stupid parade they had, that's bullshit. Inviting him there just to make up to him for threatening to kill him, it's not enough to do it. So I want to say this: if there's any Cubs fans have been watching this video, may the Cubs never get to a World Series for another 216 years, double the amount. So none of us will ever see the Cubs in the World Series ever again, because it's a joke, it's a disgrace to baseball, it's an insult to me, that to anybody else who's not a drunken Cubby fan, that the team actually won. Because he didn't have the good feel story that he had with the 2004 Red Sox. Because the Cubs never got there. And the Red Sox did, and it kept the way they lost. They were losing to an off form. But the Cubs didn't, because the Cubs never get there because they suck. and they will always suck, and there always will be a shit team. And like I said earlier, I will never recognize this championship until when this whole city publicly apologizes to Steve Ballmer for all the death threats he received over the years. And I won't be surprised if he's still getting death threats. And when the Cubs won the World Series, they never said we forgive Steve Ballmer. Nobody ever said we forgive Steve Ballmer for what he did. Unlike the Red Sox fans, says we forgive Bill Buckner for making the error. At least they did that. But it still took a long time for Buckner to forgive the fans. And you said the fans of Chicago, every single person who lives in Chicago should publicly apologize to Steve Ballmer. In my opinion. And not only that, but the Cubs management should apologize to him. The mayor and the time should apologize to him. The governor, in 2003, Robert Golovich should apologize to him. They should all publicly apologize for the way they treat him. And until then, I won't recognize this championship. And there will be a national joke till that happens. For the rest of no one ran on that rant there. But for the rest of the 2017 season, actually, there was a lot of high expectations for the Mets. But one of the pitchers, Steven Matz, is going to be down for 3 weeks because he had soreness in his elbow because he had elbow surgery at the end of the 2016 season. And it's already put a damper on the season already. So you already have some nervous anxiety going on. But unfortunately, the Mets still kept pretty much intact from the year before. And if they should have enforced the bullpen a little bit more, get another reliever to back up Henry Mejia, because he blew the 2 championships in the last 2 years. He blew every game in the 2015 World Series, and he also blew the wild card game. He gave up the 3-1 home run in the 9th inning, and he blew that. So they should have another quality relief ace in that bullpen. But unfortunately, they didn't. They didn't pick up anybody. They didn't make any real big moves, in my opinion, except for maybe re-signing Cespedes to a long-term contract because he opted out, and then the Mets ended up re-signing him because no one else offered him a decent deal. But I do hope the Mets do well. Obviously, as a Mets fan, obviously you see I'm a Mets fan, but of course I'm always reluctant because the Mets have been blowing it. They haven't had a real good, successful team for 31 years, since '86. So we've been waiting a long time. I mean, more than half my life, been waiting for the Mets to win the World Series again, even though they got to the World Series twice. Since then, didn't win. Okay, and they lost in 5 games to the Yankees and the Royals. But I do hope that the Mets do well. Of course, I want them to win and get in the World Series. But to me, as a Mets fan, a team and somebody who grew up watching those great 1980s teams, no one Met team is going to be as good as that team was. I mean, not knocking the current guys who are on the team currently. It's just that won't hold the magic that that team had. Because that team had a lot of magic and they had luck on their side. And unfortunately, the Mets haven't had any luck, big luck since then. Or you can say in 2015 when they got Cespedes and they got high at the right time and they cruised into the playoffs. They breezed through the playoffs and let me tell you, the Mets are. One more thing with the Cubs before I continue. The Mets are the only major league team who swept the Cubs in the playoffs. And I do remember that in 2000, I made this comparison to my father one time, that everybody complained about the Mets didn't have the right to be in the 2000 World Series against the Yankees because they did not play the Braves in the playoffs. Because the Braves, in the first round of the playoffs in 2000, the Mets couldn't play the Braves in the first round because they were in the same division. And they got beat 3 straight by the Cardinals. And then the second round, the Mets played the Cardinals after beating the Giants in 4 games. They played the Cardinals in the second round, and the Mets just whooped up on them being in 5 games and went to the World Series. So people will complain, oh, the Mets did not deserve to be in the World Series because they didn't play the Braves, who the Braves beat them the year before. Well, I'm making the same comparison to the Cubs. The reason why the Chicago Cubs even got into the World Series was because they did not play the Mets in the playoffs. Because the Mets played the Cubs, or the Cubs played the Mets in the playoffs the year before and got swept. They lost 4 games. They weren't even. They got swept. They never even led in any game. In any moment of any of the 4 games, they never led. So that's why I'm saying if they played the Mets, they would not have won. They would have gone into the World Series if they had played the Mets in the playoffs in 2015. So that's why I'm saying, hey, the Cubs are not going to get there, folks. The Cubs are not going to get there, hopefully, for 216 years. That's my curse on them. Well, of course, I know I'm focusing on the Cubs and the Mets, but I do hope, I do expect maybe the Cardinals, maybe, I hope this is not sort of a losing trend for the Cardinals, but, the Cardinals have been there so many times, sometimes we're tired of the same teams, but I do hope seeing the Pirates in there again, getting better. I do hope then the National League West, maybe it's probably going to be the Dodgers again, and probably the Giants as well. And like I said, probably the Cardinals, the Cubs, and the Pirates in the National League Central. Finding it out. In the American League, I would say maybe the Red Sox. I'm picking the Red Sox for the American League. Hopefully, maybe go all the way again into at least to the World Series. National League American League Central, probably Kansas City again. Forget how. I think to backtrack to the American League East, I think it's probably going to be the Red Sox and the Blue Jays going to be fighting it out. And also there's the 25th anniversary year of the Blue Jays winning the first World Championship. So there's going to be a big deal over there. I'd also like to see the Rangers, Texas Rangers in it. For the wild card team, it's a crapshoot. It's probably going to be Cleveland. Cleveland and Kansas City probably fighting it out for at least one of the wild card spots. Like I said, I hope that my picks are right. Usually my picks are wrong. I'm like the Mike Francesa of YouTube, okay? I'm always getting stuff wrong. But hopefully the picks I made, the teams I picked will do well this year. And people probably get tired of seeing these teams in the playoffs. But, so what? On another note, I know I have time here, so I figured lately they've been, at least during spring training and just before spring training started, there was a lot of talk of maybe moving the game faster, or improving, or fasting, or trying to make the game move faster, or to improve that. And the thing that ticks me off about that is that we had a Super Bowl this year, Super Bowl 51. They went 3 hours and 55 minutes in real time. Now, one person ever called either a sports talk station, or on TV, or on the radio, or online, or on YouTube, ever complained that the game went almost 4 hours? Nobody. Other than myself. I'm the only person who ever complained that the Super Bowl went almost 4 hours. And if a 7th game of the World Series, let's say the World Series this year, the 2017 World Series goes to a 7th game, or the clinching game, if it doesn't go to 7 games, whatever game is the final game of the World Series, if that game goes 3 hours and 55 minutes for a 9-inning game, you're going to hear people throw a hissy fit. Like Joe Buck says, "Oh, it's now 10 o'clock in the East and we're still playing." Meanwhile, he announced the Super Bowl. Joe fucking Buck. Like call him. He announced the Super Bowl 51 for Fox. He never said, "Oh, it's now 10 o'clock in the East and we're still playing the Super Bowl." He never complains about how long football games go. He always complains about how long baseball games go. And it makes me sick. Okay? Nobody ever complains about the Super Bowl going 4 hours, but they complain about a 7th game of the World Series going 4 hours. or a All-Star game going that long. But football, no, I call it the Teflon sport because nobody criticizes it. But the thing that bothers me with baseball games nowadays is that that's about every count goes to a 3-2 count, and every at bat is like about maybe a 10 or 15 minute at bat. That's what drags out the games. Every at bat is maybe a 10 or 15 pitch at bat with foul ball after foul ball after foul ball, and every count goes to a 3-2 count. That's when these starting pitchers only go like 5 or 6 innings nowadays, because by the 5th inning, it's like they threw like 110 pitches by the 6th inning, and they're taken out. And that's because every stupid count is a 3-2 count, and the batter hits number like 20 foul balls, and that's it. And that's what really slows these games down. Not just the bringing the relief pitchers in, or long commercial breaks. That does it too, but that doesn't help either of moving the games along. But I think the longer commercials breaks, and every batter goes a 3-2 count, and every batter has about maybe a 10-minute at bat. I mean, I have all the games, and you can see all the games on YouTube. The innings don't go that long. I mean, you can look at those games, like even games from the '86 World Series, and those innings don't go that long. Even Game 1 of the World Series, and the 1986 World Series was like 2.5 hours, and it was a 1-0 game. Went 2.5 hours. Nowadays, a 1-0 game will probably be double that. Nowadays, because every count is a 3-2 count, and with 20 foul balls thrown in there. And that's what slows these games down. I'm talking about anything else, more than anything else. So that's I know I'm on a couple of rants here on this video. It's supposed to be just previewing the baseball season, but like I said, my picks are, of course, the Mets, picking the Chicago Chumps, not the Chicago Cubs, the Dodgers, and maybe the Pirates and the Nationals as the wildcard teams. American League, I'm picking Red Sox and Blue Jays coming out of the East, either fighting it out or one of the teams being the wild card team. Cincinnati and Cleveland, Kansas City and Cleveland, with one of them being the wild card team and the other one being the division winner, and maybe Texas coming out of the American League West. So those are my picks for the baseball season, as much as they're worth. And if any of these picks wrong, as they probably will be, I don't want anybody bothering me in October. So let me review the 2017 baseball season. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel, and please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can watch all my videos not only on my YouTube channel, but RallyC.com. That's all WDY.C.com. On the homepage of the Rally Reviewer, Christine Moore. And please check out all of his content on his website as well. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.